The return of an elite team at USC and the complete disappearance of another. Welcome to Sports Scene. I'm Camardella.
And I'm Yoav Gillath, and I'll have your Trojan Top 10 in just a bit.
And I'm McCoy. I'll tell you why one Trojan receiver is an early candidate for the Blitnikoff Award. But let's get started with some hoops. Will, what do you have for us?
One of USC's elite teams is officially back. The Trojan men's basketball team is looking to defend and maybe top its 2021 Elite Eight appearance, and the journey to do so has just begun. The Trojans are preparing to tip off their season on November 9th against Cal State Northridge, and Andy Enfield's team is a completely different group than the one that went to the Elite Eight in March. Losing Evan Mobley to the NBA was the biggest challenge, along with the loss of Taj Edey. But the Trojans have added two. Transfer guard Boogie Ellis, three-star SoCal natives Kobe Johnson and Harrison Hornery, and four-star Malik Thomas headlined the group of newcomers. Ken, Yoav, let's look ahead and play a little predictions game. Ken, I'll start with you. I'll make a bold prediction, and you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 if you're buying it. Here we go. USC will replace Evan Mobley's production.
So here I'm going to go an 8. Look, right now USC has one of the best recruiting classes for basketball in USC history. So once those recruits get acclimated to the system, build some type of chemistry, I can see them really making a push for the Final Four.
I'm going to have to go with 4. I think as many recruits as you get, as much transfers as you get as well, I think it's just very difficult to replace someone with the kind of production that Evan Mobley has had over last season. I mean, with the offensive work he's done, the defensive work he's done, getting drafted number 3 in the NBA, he's a beast, and it'll be tough to replace him.
All right, next one, Yoav. USC will win the Pac-12.
I'm going to have to go with 7. I think if USC can continue to emulate that defensive work that brought them to number 6 in Ken Palm's adjusted defensive efficiency rankings last year, I think they've got a great shot. I think it's going to be tough with Johnny Juzang and UCLA, coming back from that Final Four run they had last year. But I think USC's got a great shot.
For me, I'm going to go 6. Right now, I didn't see too much shooting last year, so I'm interested to see how the recruits will make up in that area. And plus, there's a lot of competition going on in the Pac-12. So as of right now, I'm just going to stick with 6 and see how the season goes.
All right, last one. Ken, the Trojan basketball team will post a better winning percentage than USC's football team this year.
I'm going to go 10. Right now, football really isn't looking too hot, hate to say it, but I do see the basketball team having a little bit more room to play with as far as competition goes. So I'll give them about a 10 to beat the winning percentage.
I'm going to have to go with 5. Not because I don't think basketball will be great, because I think basketball will be a great team. But I think football will rebound. I think they can surprise people with the production they've got. I think Dante Williams is going to come in and he's going to be changing the culture. So I think they've got a great shot to seal that winning percentage off by the end of the season.
So speaking of football, you already know what happened last weekend, and it wasn't pretty. USC will try to turn things around in Colorado this weekend, and Dante Williams spoke about the challenges that the Buffaloes present.
The running back was Offensive Player of the Year last year, as far as in our league. So, they have another running back that actually can run the ball. So the quarterback is elusive and can run his darn self, and a physical, big O-line, right? They got tight ends and fullbacks that they use in the backfield to block. So, it's going to be a challenge.
One thing USC doesn't have to worry about, Drake London. Through 4 games, the junior receiver has led the NCAA in receptions and yards. He's an early candidate for the Blitnikoff Award, given annually to college football's top receivers.
Just trying to be that spark, that fire, and trying to just make plays.
He's a beast. I've always said that. From day one before the season started, I said that's the Blitnikoff winner. So nothing is shocking me that he's doing. I expect it. I don't think it's never a worry to rely on a great player too much. Did the Lakers rely on the guys they had too much, or did the Bulls rely on Jordan too much? That's what you do if you want to win games.
So guys, let's unpack that there for a second. Will, what's your initial thoughts when hearing that soundbite? Do you think USC is relying too much on Drake London?
No, I agree with the coach. I think I agree with Dante Williams. I think Drake London is absolutely a difference maker at the wide receiver position. You mentioned the catches, you mentioned the yards. He's number one in college football in both categories. He also leads college football in contested catches and first down catches. In addition to that, he's second in making men miss once he has the ball. He's a threat when he's running routes. He's a threat after he's caught passes. He's the classic example of when he's covered, he's open. He's also a spark plug for the entire offense. When he makes big plays, everybody gets fired up. Look at his celebration after his big sideline catch when his helmet got ripped off. He stuck his tongue out and energized everybody. So I don't see what the downside could be to continuing to go to him.
So Yoav, what do you make of London's odds to win the Blitnikoff?
Look, I think he's got as good of a shot as anyone in the country to win the award. I mean, statistically, he's a beast. He's got 540 yards through 4 games. That's unparalleled production throughout the country. I think from a narrative standpoint, he's got a great thing going for him with, maybe a team that is struggling a bit more, but he's continuing to shine through. He's continuing to show that he can be an elite receiver at the highest level, even if he isn't surrounded by, all the stars that you would find at an Alabama or something like that. So I think he's got, a terrific chance to take home the award.
All right, let's get back to the elite teams here at USC. Number 2 ranked men's water polo is definitely one of those. The Trojans took home the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation Invitational this past weekend, and it came largely on the strength of goalie Nick Porter's 33 saves. He won MPSF Player of the Week because of it, and he talked on Trojans Live about the secret behind his team's 10-0 start.
I think it comes down to our preparation. Our practices are always so intense, and our coaching staff is the best coaching staff in the country. They always put so much effort into preparing us for the games, and so that gives us as players a lot of confidence when we step into the pool, even at tough places to play like Berkeley was on the weekend. But it's been a lot of fun.
Next up for water polo is a road match this Saturday against Pacific. But first, Yoav has one more thing before we wrap up the show.
That's right, Ken. I published a column in the Daily Trojan this week on the top 10 things in USC sports over the last 2 weeks. Let's check some of them out here on Sports Scene in video form. First up, we got who else? Jackson Dart, the star freshman who went for 4 touchdowns in his debut. I mean, the guy's a machine. He's unparalleled freshman performance right here, and I think we're looking at the future of USC football. Not today, then tomorrow. Next up, we got Bethune-Croy and the soccer team with some dominant performances. They're on a 6-game winning streak, as you can see with that lovely chip from Croy Bethune right there. And here we have Croy Bethune taking on OSU with another great finish there. They'll take on Arizona and Arizona State later this week. Next up, we're going to look at basketball recruit Vince Iwuchukwu. The guy's lengthy, he's long, and I think he's got the upside to be the future of the USC basketball program. Next up, we're going to be looking at the fans. There's nothing like having fans in the Coliseum back for football games. There's a completely different experience, and it's great to be back in the stadium. Look out for Arizona and Arizona State with the women's soccer team later this week. Now, back over to you, Ken.
Yeah, it's great to see fans back in the stadium. It makes football feel a little bit more real to have the full effect of having the fans in the crowd cheering the team on. So it's good. It's a good look.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. You can catch another Sports Scene next Wednesday, and make sure to follow along with our sports coverage at anmediasports.com. For Yoav, Gillath, and Ken McCoy, I'm Will Camardella. We'll see you next week.